Help out the Dr.Wily channel by clicking the sponsor button below. This way you can financially support us and get some cool perks in the process. Now, in the most recent Nintendo Direct, Super Mario Maker 2 and its new elements were announced to us fans. Personally, I saw all of this coming from a mile away. Remember the video I made like 8 months ago called Super Mario Maker Switch? What would it be like? You don't?
NANI?
Well, go check it out after this one, and subscribe if you haven't. Now, aside from that, this franchise actually has an extremely long history. However, most of you would say by now, "But Wily, this game came out in like 2015, not 1990 like the title says. Also, your voice is the worst. Do you have a disease or something?" Well, first of all, you're right. This game didn't come out in 1990, however, its story did start back then, because Nintendo has been thinking about it all for an extremely long time. Also, fight me all you voice haters, we are here doing our very best, putting hours upon hours into these videos, and then some of you can't handle a voice or accent. Come on. I did all I can to make it as good as possible. So with all of that out of the way, let's look at the history and evolution of this franchise and how it changed in terms of gameplay, story, use, and design. Now let's start from the very beginning, before Super Mario Maker was even made and available in stores, because Nintendo had previously explored the concept of a video game editor in the 1990s. Heck, the company even ended up filing a patent in 1994, which detailed a piece of video game hardware that allowed players to pause a game while playing it and edit parts of it before resuming gameplay, as well as allowing the saving and sharing of said custom games. So clearly Nintendo was on this from the very start. After they scored a hit with Super Mario World and had the tech to make something like this, they got on it immediately. Now, Super Mario Maker was originally conceived as a tool by Nintendo's internal development team to be used only within the company. However, the team quickly realized the tool's potential as a game and pitched the idea to senior game designer Takashi Tezuka. Meanwhile, he had been wanting to make a Wii U follow-up to Mario Paint that utilizes the Wii U gamepad. Upon seeing the Mario Maker tool, however, he realized that a course-making tool was more marketable than a mere art program. He noted to Polygon that building courses is not as difficult or out of reach as drawing is, but that he was inspired to bring the fun of Mario Paint into this course editor. Another thing that most likely added to this was the popularity of fan-made 2D Super Mario games and editors made by the community. Those were already seen all over the internet and became quite a hit in time. Think of games like Kaizo Mario, for example. However, there was actually a reason why Nintendo hadn't really worked on this idea for years upon years. Back in the day, the 2D Super Mario games really carried Nintendo through some really rough times and even into extremely profitable eras. Like New Super Mario Bros.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
But if they would release a Mario Maker where fans could create their own levels, then why would they buy any new 2D titles? This could be a reason why they ended up waiting for so long, because they first needed a solid 3D Mario lineup. However, I will cover this in more detail in another video, so be ready for that one. And as a little side note, the Nintendo Online situation could also be one of the reasons. It wasn't there for a really long time after all. Now, in the end, the game was directed by this man. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Who previously worked as a programmer on Pikmin, Pikmin 2, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii. The game's soundtrack was composed and arranged by Koji Kondo and these two other men. I don't know how to pronounce their names. Japanese is really hard, please cut me some slack. It was announced at E3 2014, but rumors of the title began earlier that month, after a photo was taken of Nintendo's then incomplete trade show booth, which prominently featured the title. Now, what this game ended up achieving was incredible, adding all the known game styles from new to old, different course styles, tons of enemies, objects, and more. Some people were afraid that your options would be limited or that certain things were hard to figure out, but that wasn't the case at all. Nintendo ended up creating a layout that worked well with the console's gimmick, which was the gamepad, and was easy to navigate. It kind of came down to a drag and drop system for almost all the features. from applying power-ups to placing normal objects. However, this didn't limit your options at all. You can even create things that weren't really seen in normal Super Mario games. Think of combinations like a piranha plant riding a Lakitus cloud, a chain chomp riding a Koopa clown car, or Bill Blaster spawning coins and a Cheep Cheep. You had a lot of freedom when it came down to it, and Nintendo made sure it was very user-friendly. Extra modes, challenges, and an online feature were all added, so that people would have borderline endless content. While Nintendo did almost nothing. This was probably one of the easiest games for them to make, since it was mostly layout and function designing. But they also did something else. In order to market the game effectively, they changed their Italian mascot a bit in order to fit the idea and concept of this game. Builder Mario, a version of him that looks like a construction worker, and while it does look really good, it's not just for show. It also shows the player right away what the game is about. Building Mario levels, because in all promotion material, you will see Builder Mario do this. This was incredibly important, because you want the consumer to know what it's all about right away. An example of this going wrong was the Wii U. A lot of people weren't certain what this device was, thanks to the name and marketing. Now, the game received generally positive reviews from critics, and has an 88% average on Metacritic. Many people praised it for its simple but well-designed and expansive interface, the game's social elements, and the 10 Mario challenge. Now, there was also some criticism, of course, with one being the most common among all of them, the fact that there were no slopes. Why they didn't include those is unknown, but they most likely didn't think about it when they were making the game. Another thing people got mad about was the level sharing. According to some, there were a lot of low-quality ones out there. However, no matter what you do, this will always be the case. It's either only good levels, or all the freedom in the world. You can't have both. However, was this powerful card in their deck used effectively in the end? Like I mentioned before, it would have impacted the 2D side-scroller franchise to an extent. Well, not really. The Wii U was a commercial failure after all, only selling 13.5 million, which wasn't that much. So Nintendo had to come up with a way to generate more sales. And this is where the 3DS came in. A port of this game was released for the well-known handheld in December 2016, and the Wii U was most likely the reason. While Mario Maker ended up selling quite an insane amount of copies for the number of Wii U's out there, it was nothing compared to some others. Now, you would expect this game to be one of the best-selling, if not the best-selling game on the entire console. But in reality, a lot of others beat it. It ended up selling 4 million copies, which was beaten by others like Super Mario 3D World, Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros. Wii U, Splatoon, and even Nintendo Land. So, for such a big title that could also damage sales of other games, it didn't do too well, and couldn't really shine on this console. Thanks to this, it ended up on the 3DS, where it sold around 3.2 million, which is not that much for how many consoles are out there. And this could be thanks to the changes they made. For example, 2 game styles were missing, and you could only share levels through local play and not online. When it comes to the first Super Mario Maker, there were a number of mistakes that Nintendo made. The problem wasn't really the game, but more the consoles it was seen on, which ended up being a commercial failure, or just didn't offer all the features. However, now Nintendo is going to give it another go. This time on the Nintendo Switch, which is a completely different story. This console was released on March 3rd, 2017, and is a hybrid device that can be used in both stationary and portable settings. The console shipped nearly 3 million in the first month of its launch, exceeding Nintendo's initial projection of 2 million, and within a year of release, achieved over 14 million units sold worldwide, outselling total lifetime sales of the Wii U. So this console is practical, versatile, and extremely popular, so this will be a good second try for them. Now, this game expands on its predecessor with new features such as level styles based on Super Mario 3D World, and some gameplay aspects from this title like the Super Bell power-up, new level themes such as desert, snow, and nighttime, and further terrain options such as slopes and water in non-underwater levels. Along with Mario as the main character, Luigi and Toadette appear in the game's artwork wearing cat suits, which is new for this game as well. They also added a ton of new enemies and features like auto-scrolling, enemies that follow a certain path, and more. expanding a ton on things already seen in the game by adding all the new stuff made in the last 4 years, and making sure the older missing elements are in the game as well. They also changed the level designing tools to make it even more streamlined and better for the Nintendo Switch. You don't have a gamepad all the time, so the new rotating wheel selection screen has become your new main tool for making awesome levels. Personally, I'm a big fan of it, and I think it looks a lot better than the old one, so certainly an improvement. Now I think this title will do a lot better mostly because of the console that it's on. Not only because it's selling a lot better than the Wii U, but also thanks to the portability. However, what will happen to the franchise from this point onward is sadly enough unknown, but it does look really good. So, who knows what we can make in the future. Hey you there, thank you for watching this video. Are you going to subscribe? Well, of course you're gonna, and you're also gonna watch more videos and become a sponsor by helping the channel financially by clicking the little button next to subscribe. Yes, you are gonna. Please, it will really help me out. I love you all. I put so much effort in. Help me for once, yay.